grammar basics. What is grammar? A lot of us have studied grammar in our second standard and we think we know grammar very well, but we don't realize the number of mistakes we actually make while we are talking. These are grammatical errors that we don't realize that we are making. A lot of times while we are talking, why do we make these errors? We are in such a hurry to speak that we eat up words. It comes out as a grammatical error. A lot of times we are actually thinking in a regional language, because of which we directly translate it into English. That becomes a grammatical error. It's also known as an Indianism. Okay. So, to try and avoid that, the basic suggestion that I would make is try starting to think in English. Once you start thinking in English, automatically it becomes a lot more easier for you to be able to correct your grammar. However, coming to the basics of grammar, again going back to your second standard, what we will be covering over here on the next part of the session is parts of speech, subject verb agreement, how to recognize subject, how to recognize a verb, the basic rule for subject verb agreement, sentences. We are going to get into sentences. What are sentences? What are sentence fragments? What is clarity of sentence? And what are sentence modifiers? Getting to the first part of it, parts of speech. I am going to go a little quickly over here, because I am guessing a lot of us already know this very well. We have 8 parts of speech. You have your noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction and interjection. Let us get into definitions of each of them. What exactly is a noun? A word that names a person or an animal, a place, a thing, and last but not the least, a lot of us forget about it, is an idea or concept. A noun is a word that names a person, animal, place, a thing. An idea or a concept also comes under a noun. Very importantly, we forget. What are the kinds of nouns that we have? We have common nouns, boy, girl, table, chair, door. We have proper noun, John, Carol, Harsha, Tarini, Chakravarti, Ritvik. You have singular nouns and you have plural nouns. You have singular possessive and plural possessive. Singular possessive is one person's possession. For example, Harsha's pencil. This is singular possession. Okay. Harsha's, mine, one person's possessive. So, it's singular possession. Plural possession is a group, boys playground. Okay. That is the difference between singular possession and plural possession. When we come to pronouns, what exactly is a pronoun? A word used in place of one or more nouns. It may stand for a person, place, thing or an idea, because we are replacing a noun by a pronoun. That is why it is called a pronoun, replaces a noun. Okay. For example, who can guess the letters? We love dancing. Do you? Okay. All the words in red are your pronouns. Kinds of pronouns. You have personal pronoun, you have indefinite pronoun, you have an interrogative pronoun and you have demonstrative pronouns. These are examples. For example, a personal pronoun is I, me, mine, you, yours, she, myself, yourself. An indefinite pronoun would be anybody, each, either, neither, none, someone, etc. An interrogative pronoun is when you are asking something, who, whom, which, what. Those are interrogative pronouns. Demonstrative pronoun is this, that, these, those, etc. What is a verb? All of us know all this. Okay. A word that expresses action or otherwise helps to make a statement. You have action verbs, words that denote action, and you have linking words, words that connect two nouns. Let us look at a few examples. He rode the horse to victory. He has been sick. Okay. Here rode is your verb, it is an action word, has been is your linking word, it links to nouns. Okay. Each sentence must have a verb. It is very, very important. When we come to sentences, we will understand what exactly is the subject, what exactly is the verb and how they agree with each other. But always remember, each sentence, every sentence must have a verb. Getting into adjectives, a word that modifies or describes a noun or a pronoun is known as an adjective. For example, Did you lose your red address book? Book is your noun, red address is the adjective because it is describing the book. Is that a woolen sweater? All the words in red on this particular slide are your adjectives. Just give us 5 minutes, that is also an adjective. Okay. There is the school bus. School is your adjective. What are adverbs then? A word that modifies a verb, adjective or another adverb is known as an adverb. Okay. He ran quickly. How did he run? Quickly. Running is your verb, he is your pronoun, quickly is your adverb. So, very important. It was too hot. She left yesterday. Kinds of adverbs. You have your interrogative adverb. How did you break your leg? When does the plane leave? How often do you run? Where did you put the mousetrap? These are all kinds of adverbs. These are interrogative adverbs. Coming to prepositions, very, very important part. A word that introduces a noun or pronoun or a phrase or a clause functioning in a sentence as a noun. Okay? A word that introduces any of these four. It could be a noun, it is introducing a noun, or it is introducing a pronoun, or it is introducing a phrase, or it is introducing a clause which functions as a sentence, in the sentence as a noun. That word is called a preposition. A word or word group that the preposition introduces is its subject. It's called the object of the preposition. Example, they received a letter from John telling him about his trip to India. Please note the words in red are your prepositions. Let us look at a few more prepositions. The book is on the table, the book is beneath the table, the book is leaning against the table, the book is beside the table, she held the book over the table. All the words in red on the slide are your prepositions. Conjunctions. A word that joins words or a group of words is known as your conjunction. A conjunction is a word that joins words or it joins a group of words. These are called your conjunctions. Okay. Common conjunctions, easier way to remember, fanboys, they are, F stands for, A stands for and, N stands for neither nor, B stands for but, O stands for or either, Y stands for yet and S stands for so. These are your commonly used conjunctions, interjections. An explanatory word that expresses emotions. For example, yay, it's Sunday. Or you can say, wow, look at that sunset. Or you can say, goodness, what cute babies. Look, it's snowing. These are your interjections. It's an explanatory. Once we have understood what are 8 parts of speech, we need to understand subject-verb agreement. Okay, it's very important for us to realize that every sentence has a subject, it has a verb, and they need to agree with each other. Okay, often overlooked problems with subject-verb agreement are real. A lot of us think that subject-verb are agreeing with each other, hence my sentence is grammatically correct. However, we overlook the obvious. Let's look at it. Recognizing subjects and verbs. How do we recognize? As I have said over and over again, a complete sentence must have a subject and a verb. The verb is obviously the action word. The subject is who or what is performing that action. This is how you recognize which is the subject, which is the verb. The players on our side are strong. Which is the subject, which is the verb. Players on our side are strong. Okay. Players is the subject and the word are is the verb. Once you have identified the subject and the verb, you have to make sure that they agree in number. Singular subject, singular verb, plural subject, plural verb. The basic rule, there are 13 different rules which help you understand subject verb agreement. I will be taking the basic rule with you which will help you start understanding the other 13 rules. Please note, singular subject requires singular verbs and plural subjects require plural verbs. An easy way to make sure or to make your subjects and verb agreement is to think about the alphabet S. When do we put S? Usually plural nouns end with the letter S and singular nouns do not. Boy, boys, girl, girls, table, tables. It ends for all nouns. The plural form comes with an S at the end of it. However, for verbs, it's generally the opposite. For most part, singular verbs end with the letter S and plural verbs do not. Let's see how. Okay, the basic rule when it comes to subject verb agreement, a singular subject takes a singular verb, a plural subject takes a plural verb. The trick is knowing whether the subject is singular or plural. That is what will define whether your verb is singular or plural. The next trick is recognizing a singular or a plural verb. So, first you figure out which is your verb, which is your subject, then you figure out is your subject singular, is it plural. Then you figure out is your verb singular or plural. That is how you will be able to get your subject and verb to agree with each other. Let us look at this. The small hint that we can give you, verbs do not form plurals by adding S to it at the end as nouns do. As I mentioned, girl, girls, boy, boys. However, it is not the same with verbs. In order to determine which verb is singular and which one is plural, think of which verb you would use with he, she or it and which verb you would use with they. Take your verb and put, for example, talk, talks. Okay? Take the word talks, put a he, she or a they in front of it. Which matches? Do we say he talks or do we say they talks? We say he talks. Similarly, take the word talk. Okay? Put he, she or they in front of it. Do we say he talk or do we say he talks or they talk, right? That is how you try and figure out which is singular and which is a plural verb. For example, look at the screen again. We say he talks. Therefore, talks becomes singular. It is a singular verb. Okay? And we say they talk. Therefore, talk is a plural verb. This is how you actually can recognize which verb is singular and which verb is plural. Take your verb, put the pronoun either he or she or a they in front of it. Whichever suits that particular pronoun, that figures out, that will help you figure out whether it is a singular verb or a plural verb. The verb that goes with a he or a she is your singular verb. However, the verb that goes with they becomes your plural verb. Okay. Getting into the next part now, when it comes to subject verb agreement, just a reminder again, on eMentor under the PEP section, we have uploaded a file called Parts of Speech, which have all the 13 rules with a lot of examples. Please go through that. That will help you understand subject verb agreement, that will help you understand how you can actually ensure that you do not make mistakes or do not make any grammatical errors when it comes to subject verb agreement. If you have any doubts, you can mail me at harsha@rainmaker.co.in or you can upload a question on eMentor regarding subject verb agreement. The second part of it, now we have understood what are the 8 parts of speech are, we have understood what is the subject, what is the object, what is the verb, how do they agree with each other. Now we have to figure out what is a sentence. Okay, we have to try and start forming sentences that will help us in writing. Let us look at the following sentences. Since he came to New York, because my dog loves it, unless you see me. Is there anything wrong in these sentences? I am going to keep these sentences on the screen for about 5 seconds. Please look at them. Try and figure out what is wrong with these sentences that have been put up. Since he came to New York, since he came to New York, what? What has he been doing? So what if he came to New York, right? It's like, it's vague. Since he came to New York, it leaves a question mark in our minds. So that means the communicator has not effectively communicated everything to you, right? because at the end of that particular sentence, there is still a question mark in your mind. Since he came to New York, so what? The next sentence, because my dog loves it. Again, what does your dog love? So what if your dog loves it, right? Again, it leaves a question mark. Unless you see me, what will happen? So these are sentences that give a vague imagination to you. You can think of anything at the end of the sentence. It does not give you a complete picture. Are they too short? Are these sentences, maybe they are just too short, that is why they are not a full sentence. So let us look at these sentences. I slept. It gave you a full picture? Yes, I slept. Jim flew the plane. Okay, it gave me a full picture. Maybe you want to ask more questions to get more details, that is a different thing. But when I say Jim flew the plane, it gives you a complete picture. He cried. It gives you a complete picture. Yes, okay, he cried. Maybe you would want to know why he cried, etc., etc. That is to and fro communication to get more information. But when I say he cried, it is a complete sentence. It does not leave a question mark in my head. So then what is the difference between these three sentences? The sentences on this particular side are not called sentence fragments. So how do we then define what exactly is a sentence and what exactly is a sentence fragment? A sentence consists of three important components. Okay, it contains a subject, that is a person, place, thing performing or doing the action. It contains the verb, which is the action, and it contains a complete idea. So the reader isn't left waiting for another word. When I say he cried, you are not waiting for another word because it is complete. It gives you a complete idea. It gives you the subject he, gives you the verb cried, and it gave you the idea. So the length of the sentence really does not matter. The sentence could be short, he cried, it is just 2 words. However, it gave you the complete idea as compared to the previous sentences in this screen which says, unless you see me what? It does not give me the complete idea. So that is how you actually differentiate between a sentence fragment and a sentence. If any of these 3 components are missing, it does not become a complete sentence, it becomes a fragment. So when you are framing your sentences, that is when you are either verbally communicating it or you are getting into written communication, it is very important for you to ensure that each one of your sentences has all these 3 components. But please also ensure that you keep, while you are writing, keep your sentence short and simple, so that it gives clarity. Do not make a very long sentence which makes the sentence again unclear. We will come to sentence clarity in a little bit. So the components of the sentence are your subject, you have your verb, you have a complete idea. Take for example, I hit the ball, birds fly. If one of these 3 items is missing, it results in a fragment. The above examples are examples of sentences. Take for example, the sentence I take. The sentence, this part is called a fragment because what do you take? What did you take? What do you want to take? I take. What? You take what? So my idea is missing. It leaves the receiver with a question mark, right? It leaves the receiver waiting for another word. You say I take and stop. The person listening to you will be like, has she finished talking? Is that sentence complete? Am I waiting for something more? So therefore, it becomes a sentence fragment. I am stressing a lot on this because a lot of times when we continuously write or we continuously talk, somewhere we miss out on one of these 3 components and we do not realize it. So when you are rechecking or when you are proofreading whatever you have written or when you are proofreading your thoughts, please ensure that it is a complete sentence. How do I fix fragments? The 3 basic methods of fixing fragments, we will take you through each of them slowly. The first method, attach the sentence fragment to another sentence. The other sentence could be before or after the sentence fragment. For example, look at the sentence fragment that says, after seeing the doctor. Is this a sentence? Is it a fragment? It is a fragment. Why is it a fragment? After seeing the doctor, what? You are still waiting for another word, right? You are still waiting for the end of it or the beginning of it, right? Therefore, it has not become a complete sentence yet. Let us look at it fixed. I felt much better after seeing the doctor. Clear? It has given you a clear vision of I felt a lot better after seeing the doctor as compared to me saying after seeing the doctor. Like, what happened after seeing the doctor? Did she get okay? Did she not get okay? Did she just go say hi to seeing the doctor? What was the reason of her going to see the doctor? So, when I say I felt much better after seeing the doctor, it gives you a complete idea, hence I have fixed my sentence fragment. The first method. So, the first method, attach a sentence fragment to another sentence. If I just say I felt much better, again it is a question of you felt much better before what, after what made you feel much better. So, I have taken both these fragments attached together, which makes a complete sentence and makes sense now. I felt much better after seeing the doctor. We can also say after seeing the doctor, comma, I felt much better. Okay, clear? So, when I am attaching another sentence fragment to this sentence fragment that exists, I can put it either after or I can put it before the sentence fragment. The example is here, I felt much better after seeing the doctor. I can also say after seeing the doctor, I felt much better. That is your first method. The second method, add a subject, verb or both to make the sentence complete. Example, under the bed. What under the bed? Okay. Let us see the fixed sentence. I found my socks under the bed. Okay. So, here I have added to my sentence fragment. Now, it gives you the complete idea that I found my socks under the bed. Okay. Third method. Now, before I give you the third method, you need to keep in mind that the third method is a little tricky. Okay. So, let us look at the third method. Take away the word or the phrase that makes it a sentence fragment. Let us look at the sentence. While Fred was in Paris. The reason I said this is very tricky is here you are removing a word or a phrase. Okay. Now, when you remove the word or the phrase, you have to ensure that you do not change the meaning. Otherwise, please do not use method 3. If you just want to say Fred was in Paris, if that is all you want to convey, or you just want to convey Fred is in Paris, then you can remove the word while, as it is fixed as Fred was in Paris. If that is all you want to communicate, then leave it at Fred was in Paris. You can remove the word while, because the word while is making it a sentence fragment. Okay. If I say while Fred was in Paris, then I have to add another part to it to complete my sentence. What happened while Fred was in Paris? However, like I said, I am going to stress on this again. Method 3 is a little tricky. You have to know what you want to communicate, your goal of communication. If your goal of communication is just to inform that Fred was in Paris, you can remove the word while, which is making the sentence a fragment. Otherwise, you are actually changing the meaning of the sentence. So, please ensure if you are using method 3, you do not change the meaning of the sentence. When we are coming to sentence clarity, now a lot of times we think my sentence is fine, I am speaking clearly, everyone is understanding what I am saying. So, why do I need sentence clarity? Why do we need to be concerned about sentence clarity? Okay, these are a few reasons. Okay, we need to communicate effectively to either the reader or the person listening to us. I am stressing on the reader over here because sentence clarity is, we make most of the mistakes while writing, which is why I am stressing more on the reader. When someone is reading what you have written, you have to ensure that the sentence is very clear, because you are not present over there at that, you might not be present over there at that point of time to clarify what he is reading, his perception, he might read it differently. So, it is very important that your sentences are crisp and clear. Okay. To make writing persuasive, to show credibility as and authority as a writer. It's very important that you do not show yourself as someone, you can portray yourself as someone who has credibility in writing what you're writing. As a lawyer, you hold that particular credibility. Therefore, it's very important that your sentences that you form are very clear and crisp and simple and easily understood by the other person who is reading what you have written. Common clarity problems. A lot of us, while we are writing, like I mentioned, subject verb agreement, if your subject and verb are not in agreement with each other, it causes a lot of issues, especially while writing. So, the person who is reading it really does not understand what you are saying. Okay. Some of the common clarity problems are misplaced modifiers. What exactly are misplaced modifiers? A word or phrase that causes confusion because it is located within a sentence so far away from the word or words to which it refers. Okay? Let us look at this. Consider the different meaning of the sentence. The dog under the tree bit John versus the dog bit John under the tree. This will explain the first bit. A word or phrase that causes confusion because it is located within a sentence so far away from the word or words to which it is referring to. Okay? Let us look at the example. The dog under the tree bit John and the dog bit John under the tree. Now, what are you trying to say here? Are you trying to say that the dog that was under the tree bit John, or are you trying to say that the dog bit John under the tree, as in John was standing under the tree and the dog bit him there, or are you trying to say that the dog that was under the tree went somewhere else and bit John? Okay. So, it is very important. These are small issues that we do not realize as a writer or a communicator that we are making these errors. Okay. For example, I saw the dog biting John under the tree. That means John was standing under the tree when the dog came and bit John. So, in my mind the picture is very clear, but I say the dog under the tree bit John, which means what? It might not exactly, you might perceive it differently. You might think that the dog that was standing under the tree went somewhere else and bit John. However, for me, John was standing under the tree and then the dog bit him there. Okay, so, it is very important that we make sure that we do not make mistakes when it comes to misplaced modifiers, because this affects our sentence clarity to a major extent. Let us look at a few more sentences. Mary called her adorable kitten, opening the can of tuna and filled the food bowl. What am I trying to say over here again? I can change this to opening the can of tuna, Mary called her adorable kitten and filled the food bowl. If you look at the first sentence where I am saying Mary called her adorable kitten, opening the can of tuna and filled the bowl of fish. Is the kitten opening the can of tuna? No, right? That obviously seems ridiculous. However, when you are reading it, you might actually say, how is the kitten opening the can of tuna? Hence, I changed my sentence to make it a little more clear, and I say, opening the can of tuna, Mary called her adorable kitten and filled the food bowl. Simple. Hence, when you are actually writing, please note these mistakes. I am continuously stressing on this because we have all made mistakes like this. This is perception. This is exactly what I am talking about when it comes to perception of the communicator and perception of the receiver. I know Mary is opening the can, calling her kitten and putting the food, but I said it as in Mary called the kitten while the kitten was opening the can, right. So, sentence clarity is very important. Misplaced modifiers is something that we need to take care of at all points of time. Let us look at another sentence. Jenny rushed to the store loaded with cash to buy the birthday gift. Now, my question to you is this: was Jenny loaded with cash, or did Jenny run to a store that was loaded with cash? Please look at the sentence again. Jenny rushed to the store loaded with cash to buy the gift. How can we make that clear? Jenny, loaded with cash, rushed to the store to buy the birthday gift. Clear? It's definitely clear. That means Jenny was loaded with cash, not the store. Are we clear on how misplaced modifiers actually affect our clarity? These are some of the one word modifiers that can cause a lot of confusion. Words like almost, simply, only, just, even, nearly, hardly. Okay, these are words. These are one words that actually cause a lot of confusion. So when we are using these words, be very careful. Let's look at this example. Almost everyone in the class fell ill. Everyone in the class almost fell ill. What are you trying to say? What is my goal of communicating out here? Am I saying that almost everyone fell ill? That is, most of the class fell ill? Or am I saying everyone in the class almost fell ill? You see how this actually, it conveys completely different messages. These are a few of the one word modifiers that cause a lot of confusion while we are writing. So what do we need to do while we are either communicating verbally or non-verbally? So what do I need to do? How do I avoid this confusion? Make sure that the goal of your communication is very clear. First thing. Second thing, ensure that while you are communicating, you think, then organize your thoughts and then put your thoughts down. Then you read it again if it is written communication. Otherwise, while you are organizing your thoughts, try and figure out, am I saying things clearly so that the person on the other side is actually understanding it the way I see it in my mind. As simple as that. Keep your communication extremely simple. Do not complicate it by using too many words. Do not complicate your sentences by making it very long. Keep your sentences short, keep it clear. Ensure that your subject and your verb agree with each other. Avoid misplaced modifiers. A very quick recap about what we did in the second session. We went through grammar basics, that was your 8 parts of speech, noun, verb, adjective, adverb, etc. How do we recognize the subject? How do we recognize the verb? The basic rule of subject verb agreement, that is, a singular subject takes a singular verb and a plural subject takes a plural verb. A verb plural does not necessarily mean adding an s to it. For example, the word talk and talks. Then we got into sentences where we saw what are the 3 components of a sentence: your subject, your verb and your idea. It gives you the complete idea. Without any one of this, it is not a complete sentence, it actually becomes a fragment. Then we went into seeing how we can actually get rid of fragments. The 3 methods. Your third method is the most critical and crucial method. Do not remove words if they are changing the meaning of your sentence. Then we went into sentence clarity. One of the most important aspects of how to create sentences is sentence clarity. Over here we got into misplaced modifiers. Also there are different other various aspects to sentence clarity, which is again there on your e-mentor. We have put up a lot of information on that. I would request you to go through that. If you have any doubts on what we have covered so far or on any of the material that has been uploaded for you on e-mentor, upload your queries on virtual classrooms.